the opportunity to provide an update on Kalium Lake's sulfate of potash project. I'll try and make up a bit of time as we go through. So the Beyond the SOP project is located in Western Australia in the eastern parts of the Pilbara. It's located just 180 kilometres south east of the mining town of Newman, and it is also in close proximity of the existing Great Northern Highway and the Goldfields gas pipeline. Phase 1 of the project, that is looking to produce 90,000 tonnes per annum of SOP, is currently in construction, on schedule and on budget, 70% complete, looking to have first production during Q3 of next year. That means Kalium will be one of the first producers of SOP and potash in Australia. The Beyond the SOP project is a low-cost, high-margin, long-life operation. Just double-checking, you can see that, a long-life operation with an all-in sustaining operating cost of $200 per tonne on an FOB basis. That means it will place us in the lowest quartile of all potash producers globally. Phase 1 of the project has got a pre-tax NPV of $364 million, which will increase to over $600 million once we start developing Phase 2, which will double production. Both of these phases are underpinned by plus 30 years of ore reserves and mine life. The project's also fully funded and includes a very attractive debt package of about 4% interest rate over a 10 to 15-year loan tenure. We also have an offtake agreement in place with K+S. K+S is, outside of China, the largest potash producer globally, and also provides more than 60% of the SOP consumed within Australia. So K+S will be looking to provide or supply the potash produced from the SOP, Beyond the SOP project, to local Australian consumers, New Zealand, and other strategic markets globally. The SOP production process is quite a simple process. Different from normal conventional mining operations, we extract our brine from two brine surface aquifers, so we mine liquid rather than a hard rock resource. The upper or the high aquifer sits just below the Player Lake surfaces, where we extract the brine through excavating trenches on the lake surfaces, and in the deeper paleochannel systems that sits below 40 and 140 metres below ground, we extract the brine through production bores and pumping systems. This brine is then pumped through evaporation ponds, where we evaporate off the freshwater component of the brine, leaving the minerals behind to concentrate. As the minerals concentration increases, we start to form crystals, and we drop up different salt types. The first salt that drops out is a sodium chloride, that will become a waste product. And then in the later parts of the ponds, we drop out the potassium salts. These salts is then harvested by a harvester, which is fed into the SOP purification plant, where we remove the impurities, which is the remaining sodium chloride and also magnesium and other impurities. We then produce a premium grade SOP fertilizer, which is introduced into the agriculture market. The overview or the footprint of the Beyond the project is shown on the next slide, and we access the brine for Phase 1 of this project from two key areas. The first area is, on top of the screen, you can see the Lake Sunshine, where we have 17 kilometers of trenches on the lake surface. And as you can see by the blue dots, we have got 9 production bores extracting the brine from the deeper paleochannel aquifers. Brine from these areas is then pumped into the Sunshine pre-concentrator pond, which is about 30 hectares inside, where it is collated before being transferred to the main primary and recycle ponds. The second area where we extract our brine from is the 10 Mile lake area. 10 Mile, we've got another 7 kilometers of trenches where we extract brine from the lake surface, and 12 production bores where we extract brine from the lower paleochannel system, which is also then all pumped into the smaller area you can see there, which is another 30 hectares of pre-concentrated pond area. It's a bit of sense on the scale. These areas are about 20 kilometers apart. So if you're in Perth, that'll be the same as the distance to Mullaloo, Sydney to Cabramatta, Melbourne to Ringwood, or Brisbane to Logan City. The brine is then pumped from these pre-concentrated ponds to the main primary and recycle ponds areas, where we have our SOP purification plant, our airstrip, and access to our road to the Great Northern Highway, and also the Goldfields gas pipeline. Earlier this year, we've announced that we've completed the 10 Mile brine extraction system, and only a couple of months ago, we've also completed the Sunshine brine extraction system. This means that we've now commissioned all of the bore fields and brine extraction infrastructure required for the production of our 90,000 tonnes per annum of SOP. As you can see in the slide, we've got the surface lake, the 17 kilometers of trenches on Sunshine, And you can see in the bottom slide what the typical sunshine trench pump station setup looks like, with a fuel pot, a generator, and a flow control panel. The brine from this area is pumped into the sunshine pre-concentrator pond area, as you can see on the screen, which is 30 hectares of lined pond area before it is transferred to the main pre-concentrator pond area. So our total pond evaporation area adds up to about 400 hectares, where 60 of these hectares are with the pre-concentrated ponds mentioned earlier, and the remainder 340 hectares are within the primary and recycle ponds, as you can see on the screen. We currently have lined more than 77% of our pond areas with all of the potassium ponds, which forms the lower parts of the ponds on the screen, already commissioned in operation, with harvesting activities currently underway. We've pumped more than 44,000 tonnes of SOP from our bore fields into our evaporation pond system, and construction of the pond works is undergoing. We've also received delivery of our harvester, which have been commissioned and is currently undertaking preliminary harvesting works for our operation. You may have picked up that I keep talking about primary and recycle ponds. Why is that important? Well, we get the primary ponds receives the brine from bore fields and then produces the salts that goes through the purification plant, while the recycle ponds, as you can see in pink here, receives the brine from the plant itself. So the plant receives salts and produces three products. It produces SOP as a premium grade product, it produces sodium chloride as a waste product, and it produces a mother liquor containing potassium minerals that is then recycled through the plant or through the ponds to recover the remainder of the potassium. The 340 hectares we've got there is just overlaid over Melbourne. Again, for a bit of sense of scale, you can see the MCG and Melbourne CBD. And you can also see that we are currently at 70% completion of our primary ponds, looking to have them all completed before the end of the year, whilst the rest of the recycle ponds will follow as we get closer to commissioning of the process plant. We have all of our non-process infrastructure complete as well. That includes 216 village access roads, administration facilities, warehouse, workshop, laboratory, diesel fuel storage, and an airstrip. All of these facilities have been built, commissioned, and are in operation. The heart of our process is the purification plant, and given that we are first movers in the industry, we also have had the challenges that there isn't necessarily local expertise that can design and produce and supply these process plants. So we would like to say we haven't left one stone unturned to find the best people in the industry to know how to build these plants, and we found the Germans that can design, supply, and have proven and tested the technology of the plant that's being built on site. This plant is currently in construction, as you can see, looking to have all the concrete works completed before the end of this year, and we currently have 80% of our key process equipment already delivered to site, well on track and on schedule. The power station construction, as you can see in the bottom photo there, is also well progressed, and we are looking to have this commissioned during the early parts of next year. The gas supply for power generation as well as consumption within the plant is supplied by the Goldfields gas pipeline, as you can see in the photo on the left-hand side, the little green line there, linked to the mine site with our own gas lateral, which has recently been constructed. All construction for this pipeline is now finished, and we are busy with the construction works where the pipeline is tied into the Goldfields gas pipeline through the APA metering facility that then connects it to our own inlet station, which will supply the gas to the delivery end of the plant. This work is almost complete, and we'll be looking to have the delivery station also completed by the end of the year, which puts us well on schedule, slightly ahead of schedule for commissioning of the power and gas system in the early parts of 2021. Quick note on schedule. I've mentioned we're on schedule, on budget, and we truly are. All of our engineering work's about complete, and all of the other activities is well on schedule. The gas pipeline construction, as you can see there, has been completed slightly ahead of schedule. So well and truly looking to deliver our first product during Q3 of next year, and potentially, if we can, pull it a little bit forward. We will also continue to look at upside opportunity. So once the plant is commissioned, we will be working on debottlenecking activities to increase production through the plant and the evaporation pond system from 90 to 100,000 tonnes per annum. The key area of focus to access the brine and the resource for this is our recently acquired tenement at 10 Mile West, where we have increased our resources by almost 6 million tonnes at a grade of just over 17,000 milligrams per litre of SOP. this area, or the approvals and exploration work for this area is ongoing and is anticipated to be well in place by the time we start production of phase 1 for the project. The project also includes significant upside. All of the work we've been talking about so far, phase 1 producing 90,000 tonnes per annum, and phase 2 that will be doubling production, sits within stage 1 of the project area footprint, which means that we will produce up to 180,000 tonnes per annum within this area, but we still have all of stage 2 as the upside for future expansion or the blue sky. And to put some sense on the scale of what this paleo channel looks like, it's the same if you're in Perth, the distance from Perth to Busselton, Sydney to Orange, Melbourne to Warrnambool, Brisbane to Maryborough, or Adelaide to Renmark. Within the stage 2 area, we also have the remaining 79% of our available lake surface area. So it provides for substantial upside in the future, as you can see. So to wrap it up, hopefully we've made up some time. What Kalium is doing is we're building a leading specialty potash business that will have access to the new Australian industry. It's leveraged to the feeding the world thematic. We have first production in less than a year. It is a low-cost, high-margin, long-life operation with more than 30 years in reserves. It'll be supporting Australian farmers' potash needs, and it's got significant project upside. Thank you very much for your time, and Amy, I hope we've made up a bit of time for you there.
Thanks so much, Rudolph.